Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. Now, if you're a balanced druid player, you probably know the grief, strife, and struggle of being trained every single game by melee DPS. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you a rundown on how to deal with that and what tactics to employ. So now you could just see me opening up that talent tree window. You're going to want to make sure that you're spec'd into Tireless Pursuit. This is a PvP talent. You're going to also want to make sure on your baseline talent trees that you have all of the talents allocated towards movement speed, because we are going to be playing a forest gump simulator rather than sitting there and being a pinata for these melee DPS to punch at and explode into free rating for themselves. We're just going to run until they give up on hitting us. That is going to be the name of the game here with this tactic and strategy. We start in stealth, obviously. We don't want to be the initial target. Ideally, we would like to stun a target from stealth as well with Rake. So we're going to stun the Paladin and position away from the melee attackers. They lead the charge. We're triggering the first stun of the game, getting a Solar Beam onto the healer, getting dots up onto the targets, but they have defensive cooldowns up, so we're likely going to have to focus a little bit on defense in this position. We've already traded Barkskin. We're getting rescued into the corner, and we're getting ready to basically shift gears into run forest gump mode. So we're going to wild charge away, Typhoon the enemy attackers, and use Stampeding Roar. This is going to give us a nice little boost. And now with Tireless Pursuit, we can stack a lot of movement speed modifiers and hold on to our movement speed when we leave travel form, making it really difficult for the Demon Hunter to be able to get back to us as a target. As they do reconnect and we have CC on the Paladin, I'm going to start lobbing some Star Surges, popping Incarn paired with Trents every single time to dump down a whole bunch of single target damage while trying to pull the enemy attackers away from their Paladin, to expose the Paladin to our Evoker for Sleepwalk, and to pull him off of his pillar so he can't avoid any crowd control from anyone else. We're going to bash the Death Knight, root the DPS, and start getting out of there while charging away from the Death Grip and just using Typhoon and Travel Form to kite away from our attackers. And we're just avoiding damage until our next Treant and Incarnation window, and we're dodging their defensive cooldowns like the anti-magic shield. We're also waiting for Solar Beam so we get opportunities to crowd control. Now that my Solar Beam is up, we're getting close to our Incarn. I'm getting a little bit more aggressive, pulling into the middle of the map as opposed to running away. We'll line up all of our cooldowns. We'll try and interrupt the Paladin's cast, and it's time to just dump, and we are dumping tons of damage in here and crushing them, killing them, and we're able to top the meter, not because our damage is necessarily high, but because we have inhibited and limited our opponent's damage so much that they are not able to actually out DPS us. So that is the name of the game. It's just run. Do not let them attack you. Don't play aggressive. Don't stand still casting clone in their face. You will die. I have literally now over 1,000 rounds of solo shuffle. I'm pushing into the top 5 for Balanced Druid, looking to reclaim that throne of the #1 spot. And I wanted to share some of these tactics and strategies with you so that you can have a better time, because this is probably the most difficult scenario that you're going to face, especially at lower and mid ratings, in order to climb and get above those kind of sticking points. So same game plan, stay behind the pillar, don't get pulled out of stealth. As soon as that Shadow Sight's gone, jump in for a Rake stun. Going to stun the Demon Hunter because the other enemies are already crowd controlled by a Blinding Sleet. And we're just immediately going to start kiting away from the Warrior, trying to avoid them, jump away from the darkness with Wild Charge, Stampeding Roar right away. And a nice part about Stampeding Roar is it puts you into bear form, so you get a little pre-shift and you get a sprint. So we've used Barkskin as well. We're just running circles with Travel Form, just running circles, typhooning, avoiding their attacks. We're not too eager. We don't have our Force of Nature. We're just trying to keep dots up on targets and get maximum distance away so we can set up for our next burst window, which is coming up now in about 7 seconds. Reposition, get to a better spot, avoid damage, pre-bear form on the stuns, as I'm anticipating they're going to stun me when I'm trying to run. Now that they've swapped off me, I can spam Cyclone. As soon as they get off of you, you switch gears. It's offense time. Clone, dump as much damage as possible into whatever target you can. Here we're hitting the Warrior and trying to blast them away, trying to force them into D-stance a little bit. You also want to make sure that you're using the instant regrowth that you get from the hero talent tree after you've spent a certain amount of astral power, because this regrowth is going to increase your movement speed, it's going to reduce damage you take, and it's going to increase healing from all sources. We fake an interrupt. We're going for Cyclones. We're going to try and get the enemy attackers off our face. Wild Charge to get some distance. Root Solar Beam on the Paladin. Dots back up. That forces the bubble. We're in kite mode. We don't have Force of Nature. We don't have Incarnation. We're just keeping regrowth up on ourselves for the buff and getting distance away from them until they give up on attacking us. If they don't give up, we're just going to keep running. Bash the Warrior, Wild Charge away. Pre-bear form when they both duck on top of me here. I have no mobility. Get rescued off into the corner. Sit in bear form for a second because I think I'm about to get stunned. Interrupts are out of range for a moment, so I went for a clone. If we get kicked, doesn't matter. Back in travel form. Immediately just run. This is the only way that you are going to live. If I tried to stand still and do something, I would be dead like 10 billion times over. I've seen this scenario so many times. We do get caught in a stun here, which could be scary, so we're going to go in bear form, try and root the melee attackers, get behind the pillar, get dots back up, get ready because we got Force of Nature Incarn. It's time to send. I see the Demon Hunter kind of low health, so I'm going to going to swap over to him, blast him down as much as possible. I also see my healer kind of getting low here in a stun, so I'm going to look for some cyclones, try and slow some damage where your blade storms it, reposition, start cutting away, keep the regrowth up, go for a clone. Paladin trinkets out of it. Star Surges come through in the warrior. Demon Hunter's rotting down, but we don't have damage cooldowns. Time to run. Bear form frenzy regen. Look at that. I stood still for 2 seconds. I'm already almost dead. Got to get distance. Got to get into the corner. Look for some cyclones at low health here also, but I'm just off healing. So they're swapping to my healer. I'm going to off heal a bit. This was a misclick. You definitely don't want to be solar beaming the Demon Hunter. I think I had myself with how low he was. I wanted to root the melee attackers, but it's not going to matter too much in a second here as we've pulled off into the corner. Warrior's getting low. We're dumping out our Starfires here. Our Star Surges onto the warrior who's really low, looking to try and finish him with a clone onto the Paladin. Can we kill him through enraged regen? We're getting awful close at this point. He's 1%. Wrath comes through, killing blow with the Dream Burst into round number 2. A little bit of sloppiness towards the end range of this game. You know, I've been playing this game for a long time. I'm in my 30s, dude. I'm old. Some mistakes are going to happen. I probably made solar beaming the DPS mistake many times, even when I was younger at this point. But we just move on to the next round, and we're just staying laser focused on the strategy, which is limit their uptime, find windows once they've given up on hitting you, either to get cyclones on the healer or cyclones to peel for your DPS, and then slip through with those Force of Nature incarnation windows. Usually, ideally, when you're not on stun DR and when they're not immediately clobbering you. So we're going to start in stealth, sprint across the map, look and see which target's going to be a good target to get a rake stun. I see the evoker with Shroud. I want to solar beam him, but he makes this ungodly prediction to use Obsidian Scales when I'm not even out of stealth, so he immunes the silence and dispels his root. We get gripped into the fray. We're to Barkskin right away. Gripped into the fray, Barkskin right away. Look, it rhymes and it's easy to say. And oh, okay, I've rhymed a little bit too much here now. We're just going to keep dots up, keep our distance, spam that stampeding roar, Typhoon away, pre-bear the stun, look to avoid damage at the beginning stages of the game, get yourself on stun DR, and now I'm on stun DR, the melee aren't hitting me, it's time to blast. And I see that healer just stand in the middle of the map looking nice and juicy, and when evokers are lower health than their allies, their healing is actually reduced. So if they're stacked up on their melee, it can be really good to swap to preservation evokers. So I open on him a little bit there. Now I'm baiting the enemy melee attackers behind the pillar, and in this round I have freedom, so my run strat's going to be even more effective. I get max distance away from the Fury Warrior. I'm much more terrified of the Fury Warrior getting stacks of mortal wounds on me. I see an opportunity to clone, so I'm trying to fake some interrupts in this position. Sometimes you're just not going to be able to, and it's just often just better to just tank the kick and get through it, especially if you have allies that also have castable CC, something like a Repentance. You just tank the kick, but I'm kind of standing still because there's only one person attacking me, and even with only one person attacking me, my whole team is kind of dying since I stopped running. We drop a darkness. I absolutely don't want to run out of this. I'm going to Barkskin with it just in case and try and go for some clones. This time around we do fake the kick, so you get a clone. I'm lining up a clone to clone the trinket, so whenever enemy attackers are really low health, if you cycle on the healer, they're probably going to trinket, so just already start casting another one. You'll cycle on their trinket, then I solar beam afterwards into an imprison. We got the Death Knight really low. Can we kill him through anti-magic shield? He pops Emerald Communion, but he doesn't have the Verdant Embrace. It's not healing a lot. We can trinket the Stormbolt, look for the finishing blow here onto the Death Knight. So close to getting it. We bash him up. Chooses not to trinket. Bold move, Cotton. Full clone. And we secure the kill onto the warrior. And you can see that it makes playing Boomkin a lot less stressful when you play like this. So don't play like, I need to be the aggressor. I get in first. I pop my cooldowns, because what ends up happening is you run in face first, pop your cooldowns, you're stunned 30 times, you can't do anything, and then you're dead. I've seen it play out. I've seen it play out 1,000 times, and I'm just trying to let you live through my mistakes so you don't have to live through those mistakes. You can skip them and start getting the rating a little bit faster and avoid some of that annoyance in your journey with the Balance Druid. So now we got the Warrior again. Same game plan. It's not going to change when there are multiple melee DPS. We're just going to start in stealth, avoid the Spectral Sight, avoid the Death and Decays, play it patient, play it slow, look for an opportunity, try and get a rake stun onto a target here. Demon Hunter's immuning 10,000 times though, so stunning a Demon Hunter's annoying. I'm just going to stun the Death Knight and reposition away, get max distance, pop Incarn Trents out into the back line, try and Shadow Meld the Hunt. We avoid the damage completely, so while the Hunt is flying through the air, you press Shadow Meld, and you can actually avoid the damage application of it, and it's going to save you a lot of damage reduction in the open. We're just Barkskinning. They're connecting. They're using every offensive cooldown, get some distance with the Shockwaves, try and pull them out of line of sight with the Root Beam onto the healer here, and pull the Evoker into the open so my Paladin can then get Hammer of Justice. He gets kicked on a Repentance, I think, here. We're going to go Bear Form Frenzied Regen during that time. I really want to bash something, but they're on DR, so we're just going to kite away with the Wild Charge, a Travel Form, get a little bit of distance, try and use that Tireless Pursuit as much as possible. See a Stormbolt, go Bear Form Typhoon, and get some distance here. Try and look for some clones. Got to fake a lot of kicks. It's going to be kind of rough, but we just kind of go for it, and he doesn't kick it, so we're pretty happy. Trent Incarn, Wild Charge the Grip. If you can actually get it mid-animation, it's the most ideal. I see time dilation on the Death Knight, so we switch to the Demon Hunter. We get another walk from the Demon Hunter. Now the Death Death Knight's still really low. We're kind of just hammering through anti-magic shield, and we get Emerald Community. We get every single defensive there. Now my Trents are coming up in 17 seconds, so I'm going to go bear form, play defense, frenzied regen, bash the Death Knight, jump in the middle of the map, wild charge, start kiting away with the travel form and the tireless pursuit, and look at all that movement speed starting to stack. Only thing I would like to do better this round is keeping regrowth up, because it is a lot of extra damage reduction. It's 8% damage reduction, 8% healing received, and 8% movement speed. But we're just going to dump on this Death Knight through darkness, just trying to RNG hit him through there because he's so low. We don't get lucky, though. We can't hit him through the darkness. We pull away from it, try and bait him out of its safety, get a little bit of extra distance here. We got him so low. I think that's why I'm not using the regrowth here, because it is lit up and would give me a lot of benefit to use in this position. We try and get a clone. He's got Shroud, so I'm trying to clone the other guy at low health. We pre-bear the stuns incoming here. As they both get on top of you, they're probably going to stun you, or just right when you press a mobility spell, they're probably going to stun you. We get away with Blessing Protection, go for the clone, because we know we're immune to the Demon Hunter kick, and the Death Knight doesn't have it. So we just go for the clone out of the Hodge, get the clone, secure the kill, get another round win, clock another one through, and you can see that you can just rinse repeat the same strategy. It's just don't get pulled out of stealth, keep distance. Once you have that distance, go for clones on the healer, pop your offensive cooldowns, try and one-shot somebody. Main goal in between is run pre-bear form when you're tracking their stuns, you know they're available, but usually they'll stun you either when they're both on top of you, or they will stun you like just right when you tried kiting, just when you just jumped away from the fight. They'll want to stun you because they don't want you getting any distance away. So these are like two of the highest times their likelihood that they're going to stun you. So you can use bear form before that point, sneak in across, stun the paladin, line of sight the grip. Actually, just go for a root beam from stealth. I noticed this guy wasn't playing the immune to beam talents that a lot of paladins do, so I just want to start with solar beam. It's easier to clone out of a beam than it is to beam out of a clone. But now we're just bear form. I'm just getting distance. I'm focused on defense. Want to survive the opener. Wild charge away. Try and kite the warrior. I think the warrior actually just gave up on hitting me at this point now onto round 5 out of 6 of this lobby. So I don't really blame him on giving up on hitting me, but I think it honestly might be a bit of a mistake. They kind of do a little split DPS, I think, maybe. But a warrior hitting an evoker is probably even harder than a boomkin, so now he's realized that, I think, and given up on doing that. But this is the main goal. You want to tilt the melee DPS so much that they stop attacking you, because that's the only advantage that you have. You're super squishy, super easy to shut down. We fake a kick here, go for the clone, get it on the paladin, rescued away. See the warrior getting low here. His sack's over. We're going to bash him with no trinket, pop him off here. We got Incarn Trents in 2 seconds, so we got a lot of damage available. We're going to pop that right as soon as we have it. Blast through the anti-magic shield, keep cracking him. Evoker's pulling the warrior in the open. I'm trying to fake some kicks and dump some damage. We get lay on hands, but Death Knight's also destroying me, and this is the danger of standing still too long and not getting into travel form enough. We solar beam up the paladin, try and fake the kick, get a fake on the kick, get a full clone out of the solar beam, and this is us this is a little bit of a higher skill cap thing to do while you're getting attacked, as opposed to just the full run strat. But I think you kind of have to do it if they're not attacking you and they're kind of splitting. We get a nice low clone on the Death Knight here, preventing his recovery for a moment, buying some time to also reduce damage. We drop darkness and I jump out of it. Fortunately, I get grip back into it, but apparently I just move out of it again, so who really knows. I go for a cyclone here. It's on DR, so I'm just trying to bait kicks while he's on DR, and I'm also forcing the paladin away from his teammates, and he's not directly healing them while we're forcing him to run around the pillar. He gets clipped by the sleepwalk. We fake a kick. We got lots of damage coming through with Star Surges and Starfires. We're absolutely just destroying at this moment. Fury of Elune down. We got Incarn coming up with no Trents, but with how low they are, I'm probably just going to pop this Incarn right away. Sometimes the cooldowns start getting misaligned, and then you just line your Force of Nature up with your Eclipse, or you just pop Incarn even without Trents, like right here, because he's so low. Like, he's just one attack away from death, and we managed to dunk him, managed to secure the kill, and managed to plow through now for 5 out of 6 rounds, entering to the final one. Are we actually going to be able to get the 6? But you can see that this strategy is really effective. It's really, really effective. You need to be employing this. I think it's the only advantage that you have in the current meta as a balanced druid, is that you can get so much mobility and you can run away, because you are the easiest class in the game to kill. You die in 2 milliseconds to pretty much anything. Any player of any skill level on almost any class, you die in 2 milliseconds. If you don't have a outlaw rogue babysitting you with cheap shots to guarantee your clones, it is rough out there to play a balanced druid, and this is just